Tim mentioned that the sandworm was going to return, and that obviously, should be done with stop motion. So we talked about the inclusion of that sort of iconic character.
We were bringing the sandworm puppet up to a slightly more technically sophisticated iteration of the ones that were originally done. We took everything and just raised it a little bit.
We did do some refinements with Tim and a few little adjustments to it.
Yeah.
But essentially, you want to recognize it as it's the sandworm from the original movie.
So you've got the main body, and then there's the piece that goes inside, which is the smaller sandworm. That was quite fun to paint and fairly easy because it's just black and white, and then you have the other piece on the inside.
We also needed to create this cavity inside, which was probably one of the hardest things to do, because we needed to know that cavity was going to still allow our armature inside to fit in and not interfere with the little worm's ability to be hidden away.
The sandworm is one of the biggest puppet I've ever worked with, so that was quite challenging by itself, because it was a bit more than 1 meter long and must weigh around 6 or 7 kilos.
It's made of foam and silicon with a metal armature inside, like skeleton. Because it was so heavy, you had to kind of wrestle it almost. It was quite funny as I was animating. It felt like you were kind of like taming some sort of beast or something, trying to get it to do what you wanted to. You'll move one part of it, but then you've got to kind of manipulate the entire puppet to follow those curves and stuff.
You've got to make your sandworm or your character fit into the same perspective and the same environment.
You want to make sure that the eye line of the worm is correct and that it looks like it's really interacting with those characters.
And then we would do rehearsal. We'd get the animator just block through, just very quickly, make sure all the motion was fine, very crude. So when you watched it on a video, just go, And then if Tim was happy with that movement, that trajectory and end position, then we would shoot it in the smooth way.
Something to draw with.
The wedding sequence and using stop motion for that wasn't even on our radar when we first started talking about this project.
Gusanos de arena!
The church sequence at the end, when the sandworm appears from under the floorboards and smashes its way around the church and causing havoc. That was probably one of the most challenging sequences.
There's so much planning and thought and discussion that goes into shoots like this.
It really was a case of how are we going to get round this corner? There's a wall there. He can't go through the wall. So we had to really bend the puppet round.
I don't want to make it too much.
No.
Just because I think it's almost like it kind of hits, and I don't want it to just be too much damage.
It's just an impact and then, yeah.
Like that. Because I want to keep it flowing with him a little bit. It's not just not reacting, but I wouldn't overreact. If that makes sense.
We had to be really precise in order to match the position and also the space of the church.
You have to bear in mind that we were animating against green screen, having to imagine that this is interacting with Michael Keaton, or this was crashing around a corner and bashing into a wall.
You know the technique and how it's done, but you still find it amazing when you see this thing come to life for the first time.
When we're doing that first composite, you sort of think, well, surely that's going to resonate out of the studio into the air and around the world, and they'll love it.
The whole process was really exciting to be involved with, and I feel really proud of the work that we achieved.
I hope that I've added to the life of this iconic sandworm.
Good luck.
Beetlejuice is one of those films I watched when I was younger that really inspired me to make things and want to do animation.
It's a milestone in filmmaking, and to be asked if we'd do a section of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice was just a joy.
I just hope that we recapture some of the fun and energy that came out of the very first film for Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Everyone's so excited about being asked to be part of it, so everyone's given their absolute best.